Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us here today for WCIT Ministerial Conference in Bangladesh, even though it is really happening as befitting the topic. It is happening around the globe digitally in cyberspace, and it is thanks to Digital Bangladesh and technology that I am able to join you all the way from Washington, D.C. One of the first goals of Digital Bangladesh was to build an inclusive, trusted, and sustainable digital society. That is, we wanted to target that the advantages of digitization should reach every citizen of Bangladesh down to the most remote village in Bangladesh. It should not be just for the middle class in the cities. It had to be trusted so that people could rely on it, people could put their livelihoods on the technology, and of course it has to be sustainable because our vision was for so that people could rely on it the next 40 years of Bangladesh, not just 5 years or 10 years. We did not want flash in the pan technologies that would fade away. To give you just a short, to give you an idea of our vision that would fade away. To give you just a short, to give you an idea of our vision. We originally give you an idea of our when we originally government was elected when to power, when our at the December government was elected to power, we came up with our vision 2021, we came up with our golden jubilee of our independence, which is that Bangladesh would become golden jubilee of our independence standards and the United Nations standards a couple of years ago. Today, our per capita income exceeds that of neighboring India and is one of the highest in the subcontinent. So after that, we have developed our Vision 2041, which is one of the highest in the subcontinent. After that, we have developed our Vision 2041. We have developed nations, and we should no longer be middle income. Towards that goal, we are pioneering the SDG. We are one of the SDG model nations. We achieved the Millennium Development Goals ahead of schedule, and so we have taken a leadership role in developing the SDG model, that which were the Sustainable Development Goals towards developing into a developed country. Our goals in developing the SDG model, Sustainable Development Goals towards developing, which were Sustainable Development Goals towards developing our a developed country. Goal is that, but our Awami government is not happy with just a. But our Awami government have departed this earth. We want Bangladesh, by its centenary, to be a prosperous country, and especially by the year 2100, that we should have a safe delta. As you know, Bangladesh is one of the two most vulnerable countries to climate change, the other being the Honorable Minister from the Maldives, being the only other country that is the most, we are the two most vulnerable countries to climate change. And so our goal is that within this century, we should leave a safe delta for our future citizens, where we know we are no longer at the risk from loss due to climate change and rising seawater. To give you some brief examples of the digital services, the public services that we have developed that are transforming Bangladesh, we started with what we call our Union Digital Centers. Those were my ideas. The concept was to develop and to build a cyber cafe within walking distance of every single village in Bangladesh. And the facilities for IT services would be there. They're manned by youth in the village that we have trained, who then provide those services to the citizens, to the villagers, for a very small fee. So the villager now no longer has to come into the nearest town or go to the nearest government office to avail himself of government services, of digital services. he can just walk to one of these digital centers, and for a very nominal fee, he can avail himself of all digital services that are available throughout Bangladesh. And this also provides a job opportunity for those village youth whom we have trained who provide services in those digital centers. We have created what the world's largest national web portal. It is a one-stop shop, one website where you can go and link to all government websites throughout Bangladesh for any and all services. We developed a national 333 hotline. This is not an emergency number. We developed that as well, which is our 999 number for emergencies, police, fire, or ambulance health services. This is a national helpline where if a citizen has any non-emergency questions, any non-emergency issues that they need, whether it's in the health sector, education sector, even non-emergency police, they can call this one number and they will be connected with people, with experts at those various agencies and ministries who can help them with their problem. eNoti is a system that really enabled our government to transition, that really, I would say, saved our government during COVID. As you know, most of the world has struggled with COVID, with the lockdowns, and working virtually. In Bangladesh, it did not affect us at all because we had been preparing to work virtually. eNoti is our digital online government management system. Prior to COVID, it was being adopted by various agencies slowly. Once COVID started, once lockdown started, the entire government of Bangladesh adopted it overnight, and our government services continued as if nothing had happened. We have a national e-government procurement portal. This is again designed, this is put under the Central Procurement Transparency Unit, I believe that's what they're called. This is designed to, you've heard, one of the key, one of the things that us, as I would call us, we're not poor anymore, but I would call us not wealthy countries. And the honorable ministers who have joined us are all from developing nations, and I'm sure you feel this way because I certainly do. We get this constant criticism from rich, shall we say, white countries about corruption in our countries. Corruption that they have in their countries through, they have legalized it through lobbying, which we feel is not really honest. So the e-procurement system, one of the goals of Digital Bangladesh is to eliminate any avenues of corruption. And the e-procurement system is one of those avenues. It eliminates corruption in government procurement. Once it's digitized, it is no longer, you are no longer able to manipulate, and bribery no longer works. MyGov is our government portal. We have developed our own GRP. We call it the Government Resource Planning. It is an ERP system that has been developed by Bangladeshi companies. Again, for all our colleagues here from developing nations, as you know, the large ERP systems that have been developed by companies from developed nations are extremely, extremely expensive. For our governments to deploy them costs a small fortune. And so the government of Bangladesh, in collaboration with our private sector, we have developed our own GRP software, which we are happy to share with you. It is far cheaper. It costs fraction to develop and deploy than anything from Oracle or SAP. We have an online e-grievance system. We have a real-time eKYC system, and we are about to launch our interoperable digital transaction platform, which is which targets the fintech industry to allow all the various fintech players and banks to interoperate with each other. One of the targets of Digital Bangladesh has been to take our IT exports to $5 billion by the year 2025. We are well on that target. As you know, Bangladesh, we are mostly known for our garments industry. My goal is that eventually our IT exports will exceed our garments exports, and we are well on target in various sectors. Here are some of the examples. I won't go through all of them, but one of the things I would like to mention, I wish I had thought to grab that, is that, but it would not be as visible on a Zoom call, but I was sent a smartphone that has been built, designed and built by a Bangladeshi company. Mind you, this is not outsourced. Samsung is already assembling their top-of-the-line Note smartphones in Bangladesh. This is a smartphone developed by and designed, built by a Bangladeshi company, which when I showed it to my friends here in the US, they couldn't believe that that was not built by Samsung. It is that good. So I believe that Bangladesh will be the next exporter of smartphones, of various other IT services. And we are going to compete very soon with the likes of Samsung and other Korean and South Asian companies. We, besides the export sector, we have a huge startup. The IT industry in Bangladesh has really exploded in servicing the domestic market. Our domestic use and domestic consumption has skyrocketed, so far beyond what the potentials are. And today in Bangladesh, we have many startups that are now being considered unicorns. You see, one of the things Bangladesh has, one of the big advantages Bangladesh has, which most countries do not, we have the 8th largest consumer market in the world. We have the 8th largest population in the world. And with the developing economy, with us being a middle-income country, we now have one of the largest middle classes in the world. And so these startups really skyrocketed, especially during COVID. You have some of these valuations that are shown here. I don't believe they're valuations. I believe they're probably earnings, because their valuations are 10 to 20x of these numbers. As Honorable Minister Pollock mentioned, we are building and have built 39 total high-tech parks. These are special zones designed for the high-tech industry to come in and set up shop conveniently, quickly, easily. All the infrastructure is there, all the facilities are there. As we mentioned, many of our local companies that are producing high-tech goods are there already. Some of the likes of Samsung are there already. And so we invite investments from your countries, companies from your countries who are looking to set up factories or offices for IT development, IT products and IT exports that need the readily available infrastructure to come here. In order to make it attractive for IT industries, to attract IT investment and companies to Bangladesh, we are providing various incentives. IT companies have a 10-year tax exemption, 12-year tax exemption for developers. There are no limits on foreign ownership or profit repatriation. There are no customs duties. There are no duties on import of equipment and machinery for the IT industry, especially in these high-tech parks. So we made it as attractive as possible for foreign investors. And I would like to invite the likes of Samsung has already set up assembly plants. LG has set up plants. I would like to invite all the others who are currently in other countries that Bangladesh has a lower cost of labor, lower cost of operations, and we are already one of the largest exporters of, well, right now garments, but we have the infrastructure for one of the largest export operations in the world. So we invite you to Bangladesh to set up shop, to start exporting. My belief is within the next 5 to 10 years, rather than seeing, say, made in Vietnam, made in China on your smartphones, on your hard drives, you will see made in Bangladesh. Due to superior, I would call it the superior management abilities and skills of our Awami League government. Even during COVID, our economy continued to grow. Our per capita income continued to grow. Digital Bangladesh played a critical role in that. Our government did not miss a beat. Our economy barely missed a beat. Our GDP growth, which had been at 8 and on target to hit, to reach 9, maybe even 10%, it did slow down. We went down to 5% growth, but we were one of only 2 Asian and South Asian economies to register a positive growth, despite the rest of the world being in recession. In 2019, our per capita income was 1,909, and in 2021, it's 2,554. So in spite of this, it continued to grow, and of course, e-commerce, mobile finance, internet bandwidth, these sectors boomed during COVID because of outside of, say, digital governance and e-commerce. We set up a website for COVID tracking, reporting, advertising the numbers, providing information, and where people could provide either ask for help, ask for questions, or get information on how to handle the pandemic. We developed and rolled out a vaccine management app to provide quick access to vaccines, to provide a vaccine certificate on your mobile phone that allows you to travel. You could call in and speak to a doctor and have their questions answered and be diagnosed. And to avoid people suffering during lockdown, we set up a Food for Nation program. This isn't an IT program. This was about providing food directly to all those who could not go out and get food due to the lockdown, who could not work due to the lockdown, so that no one in Bangladesh suffered during this lockdown. That is what our Awami League government did. Rather than handing out cash, we provided them sustenance, we provided them food. To look to the future, what are our national strategies? We are not just looking at today, we are trying to look to the future at what are the key areas that we need to focus on to build our own expertise, either for the export industry or to really be self-sufficient and not reliant on other countries for technology. Again, as developing nations, we are quite reliant on foreign countries for most of the basic technological needs. As you know, microprocessor design is only conducted in a limited handful of countries. But technology is progressing so rapidly that I believe that we can take a leadership role in some of the newer future technologies. So with that in mind, Bangladesh, we are focusing on developing our artificial intelligence skills, our blockchain skills, our IoT skills, and our robotic skills. And yes, we are focused on microprocessor design because we believe that all of this is going to be powered by microprocessors. And right now they are either designed in 1 or 2 countries and built in 2 or 3 countries. And we need to be self-sufficient in that for the future. We have also created several various groups, divisions, centers to develop these technologies in Bangladesh. We have our, I see they're trying to call themselves, these slides were developed by A2I, our Access to Information group, who have been one of the key developers of most of our digital Bangladesh, especially digitization of government services. We have developed a Center for the Industrial Revolution, where we hope to take a lead role in the world. We have Future of Work Lab, where we are focusing on the future technologies that the private sector can use. We have a FinTech Innovation Lab to develop technologies in financial digitization, because again, there is no standard. This is brand new technology. No one has this technology. No one has developed any standards, and we in Bangladesh hope to develop those. Here are some of the other labs and incubators that we have developed. We have the Sheikh Hasina Institute of Frontier Technologies. We have the Sheikh Kamal IT incubators that are in all 64 districts. We have the Sheikh Russell Digital Labs, 35,000 to be built in the next 5 years. These are going to be built essentially at every school to have school students so that our future generation has IT skills that they're trained in at a very, very young age. We have our we're developing several advanced labs in IoT, AI technologies. Again, we are not just looking to the present. We are not just looking to follow. We are looking to lead the 4th industrial revolution, Bangladesh, because no one has those technologies yet. We hope to be the ones to develop many of them. And I believe that our developing world especially, we need to collaborate, we need to work together, we need to share technologies amongst ourselves, we need to reduce our dependence on wealthy nations. And in the IT sector, in the digital sector, that is something we can do very, very easily, because the technology is progressing so rapidly that the technology is outstripping what exists in the Western world. The future technologies, the existing technologies that you see are going to be obsolete within the next 10 to 20 years. And whoever develops the future technologies will lead the way in the digital sector. And I believe that by working together, by collaborating, we can build those technologies ourselves. As I mentioned, we have developed many technologies, many software systems that are far more cost effective, that we are happy to share with the developing world and all developing countries to help you innovate your government, your IT sectors. And I would like to end with 2 quotes. The first is a Chinese proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. To that, I would like to add a slight modification by our Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina. If you want to go far and fast, innovate together. So let's innovate together so that our countries can not just be part of the 4th industrial revolution, so that we can lead the 4th industrial